Okay, guys, welcome back. The first week is over. Just as a recap, in the last 1 week, what I've been focusing on has been improving my study quality and study time. To this end, I implemented a few things over the course of the past 1 week. I've also relapsed on this a bunch of times. I will be honest, I am hoping this will be a short video, but I highly doubt that. I have quite a lot of work to do after this. The reason for the fact that I have a lot to do will be revealed soon enough. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do right now is I'm going to leaf through and read out to you the relevant parts from my journal over the past week that are relevant to this topic. Obviously, since I have been focusing on this weekly Focii thing, I've read probably a fourth at least, or probably more accurately around 1/3 of every day's journaling is about this weekly Focii. That is not exactly a very big journal, it's small. So I'll read out the relevant parts to you. We'll see. I have a bunch of remarks that I want to tell you about, and we'll see what we can do next week after everything. So, to begin with, I started on 24th. At 24th night, I decided what I would do from the next day onwards. Tuesday, 25th, till what is yesterday? Till 1st. So, a bunch of things that happened. The first day's journaling, 25/4/23, Tuesday. Today was the first day of my study focus. Streams have turned out to be absolutely overpowered. I turned in 6 sessions of 15-minute studies and 10-minute breaks, 3 sessions for physics, 2 for chemistry and 1 for math. Tomorrow, okay. Let's pause right here. So the first thing that I did to improve how much I would study and how well I could study was I started not streaming, to be more accurate. I started watching videos, or I started watching Study With Me live videos by a guy called James Scholz, or another the name of his second YouTube channel is J Skulls. If you're watching this, I would highly recommend you to check this out, because this is the one thing that probably increased my productivity the most in this past week. So I started watching 6 to 12 hour streams of James Scholz just studying, and I would sit and study as well. So what he did was he would study for 50 minutes. He'd keep a timer for 50 minutes. Once those 50 minutes are done, 1 10-minute break, then we go to the next session, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, we go on like this. And this guy does this for 12 hours straight. He's absolutely insane. We can't even compare to him yet. So on the first day, I turned in 6 sessions. I turned 6 sessions of 15 minutes studies and 10 minutes breaks. So if you think about it, it's not exactly 6 hours worth of study. It is 6 sessions of 50 minutes. So what that means is effective study time is 5 hours, and in those 6 hours I studied 5 hours. I took rest for 1 hour. So that was a very good first day, and I was very excited for the second day. But then watch what happens. 26/4/23, Wednesday, got thrown totally off my game today after 3 sessions. Let me repeat, I gave unnecessary punctuation. Got thrown totally off my game today after 3 sessions because lime water fell on my laptop. The mentioned laptop is working now for some reason. It started working the next day, probably because I shut it down immediately after fell on my laptop. And now the thing that we use as a mouse, the sliding thing, right? On laptops we put a finger and slide. That thing is broken, and it me quite a while to get used to the shitty keyboard controls. And this was at night. I always journal at night, and after this I went on to do one more session, but in the end that session was not very productive because it was too much fucking effort to just navigate the entire thing using keyboard control. If you notice, I only have a small mug. I did this in expectance that it would not last too long, hopefully. So, second day, still 4 hours, 4 hours, probably around 3.5 hours worth of study. That's still good. I still like that. But 27th onwards, shit starts going downhill. 27th, 4:23, Thursday, final remarks. Today, my improvement fell off, and I ended up overstimulating myself quite heavily. I realized that during this period, I must try not to stimulate myself as much as possible. Only by doing this will I be able to find extreme joy in all other things. Studies are meant to be difficult, but as a masculine man, you should feel the effort, and you should feel the effort in a positive manner. I need to find pleasure in this discomfort. I need to push up Sai and Joseph above my level so I feel the need to push myself. Now, setting aside the last part. So, on this day, I did a bunch of bullshit, to be very honest. I don't remember what I did. I probably just scrolled through a lot of YouTube. I'm not too sure of it myself, but whatever. One thing I realized on that day was if I overstimulate myself in any sort of way while I am, especially I'm not mentioning it here, but I later on mention it in the following journaling things. What I mention here is I must not stimulate myself, but what I actually mean is you should definitely not overstimulate yourself until you stop studying. That is something that is so fucking crucial. I wish I knew this. That is one thing you can take away from this. If you are doing anything overstimulating, keep it for late at night. But that again is like an addiction because you're continuously waiting for something to come again and again in regular doses. That is not good. It's the same thing as a guy drinking alcohol at night out of habit. No, nothing different from that. Ideally, you should stop all bad habits. In the sense, it's not just about watching porn, masturbation. It's not just that. What I find to be worse to my productivity is when I tend towards watching anime, scrolling through YouTube. Because usually these things lead towards the worst habits. Just sitting there procrastinating, masturbation, pornography. It all comes as a train. The same way thoughts come as a train of thoughts, same way the bad habits come in a flood. It's quite hard to stop the flood. Humans were given the power to start floods using dams, but they were never given the power to close it with their own strength. Okay. And this is a particularly bad flood. 28/4/23. Today has been a bit of a depressing day. I felt quite good in the morning, but I stopped being productive after the fourth session. Indeed. And the more I try to avoid, the more I feel like doing it. I need a novel way to not feel like eating ice cream or watching anime content. If I cannot overcome this barrier, I will never be able to become great. After this, I am going to make next month's habit tracker. One of the columns is going to be 0 voluntary stimulation. I'll streak myself into consistency, and after that I wrote the next day's. Anyway, so what I did that day was, I did not make my habit tracker. As I mentioned before, I overstimulated myself after the fourth session. In the morning I was quite productive, I'll be honest about that. But after that, I felt like I was missing something. That is usually what leads all of us to these bad habits. We usually feel like we are missing something. I wish I could say that I had a foolproof way to stop this feeling, but I honestly don't. The one thing that I can recommend, which has been mentioned in the book Deep Work by Cal Newport, is usually when you feel like doing bad shit, just go outside, walk, talk with your family, talk with friends. That's usually the best thing that you can do. But one of these things, I don't suggest talking with your friends, because when I do it, I get out of control. I have no control over how much time I talk. I just keep on talking for. I if I if I would allow myself, I would continue talking for 2 hours simply to not have to study after that. I would feel too tired and too stimulated to want to study again. And I ended up making the habit tracker on the next day. 34/23 Sunday, final remarks. On 29, I skipped a day of journaling because I watched a movie on the night of 29th. On the 29th night, I watched a film. I studied 4 sessions yesterday and woke up today at 7:30 after I got back from tuition, though I haven't studied anything. Even though the content that I have consumed have all been good, except for one episode of a certain anime called Tengoku Daimakyu. So, I realized that I simply am not meant to be able to casually watch an episode of an anime and get straight back to work. The second I stimulate myself excessively, I know it is over. My habit tracker is ready. I shall start operations tomorrow. It is a sad thing that I have to watch anime. It's a pity that it is such a bad thing, because it is honestly so good. The amount of value sometimes an anime gives you is actually above what a book can offer. There have been instances when I have felt this, especially when it comes to reading manga. But we must not delude ourselves. It is just us seeking a hedonistic life, pleasure seeking. We must admit that. That is it. I did not journal yesterday. Yesterday was a very shit day. I woke up late. No, I woke up early. Started watching a new anime. Actually, no, new anime. It's an anime which I have watched once already. I'm not saying its name. I rewatched it. I started rewatching it, and I'm currently rewatching it because there's a new season has come out for it. I have to watch the first season, 3 entire movies after that, and then I have to move on to the second season. And this is a sad part. I don't feel like stopping it. I don't think it is bad, and that is what makes it addictive. It is meant to make you feel good. So, the reason today's video is going to be very short is because I fucked up yesterday. Yesterday I was meant to study for a test today, and I also have something to submit tomorrow, but I ended up not doing anything. I just watched anime, I just scrolled on YouTube. The worst part is to get to this anime, to get the recommendation to watch this anime. I watched through a lot, and I mean hours worth of reviews of animes, random animes. I felt like shit after. And yesterday night I slept late because of that. So in the morning I woke up late, 7:30. The day has not been very great. I have not been able to put in as much as I want to. I still watched an episode of anime in the morning. One of the reasons I do this is because it is my own This channel is my experiment in accountability. I failed myself yesterday when I did not release a video at night. I'm not going to do that again. You can expect the next weekly Focii video to come out on the... What day is it today? Today is Tuesday, 2nd, so 6 days from now. You can expect the next video to come out on 8th. Today I fucked up. Tomorrow onwards I'm getting right back to it. So some of the remarks that I want to give you. The first thing is overstimulation is bad regardless of what time at which you indulge. Regardless of the time and date. So the reason this video is going to be a short video, I've already said it, I overstimulated myself. Yesterday wasted the entirety of my time, so I have to work. I have to study probably till 2 or 3 in the morning tonight. I fucking hate staying up late. I don't like it. But I'm going to have to do it because I overstimulated myself. It's a pleasure pain thing. If you excessively take pleasure, you have to give back. You never get anything. I sacrificed my sleep. I'm not going to do that again. I really want to watch that anime, and if I have no other choice, I will watch it as soon as I possibly can. I don't want it to stay in my head forever. Actually, no. I'm going to stop watching that anime. As of tonight, I'm stopping anime. As of tonight, I'm no longer an anime watcher. It's official. Next week when I come up, I will not have wasted even a single minute on anime. I assure you of that. And if you are watching this, I would suggest you do the same, because if there's any sort of education, any sort of content that that you feel the need to consume, I hope you understand that there really is no need for it. There's no need. There's only a want. Needs and wants are two very different things. You don't need it. So why the fuck do you? Now, second remark is, I did not get enough time on the habit tracker. So next week I'm going to see what will happen with the habit tracker, and I'll report back on that. I don't have much to say about the habit tracker. And the next thing that I've realized is 15-minute chunks are very, very good. I must say that. Although these 15-minute chunks are very good, I would not tell you to get over dependent on it. Eventually, after you get into the job market, you should be able to have the capacity to work tirelessly for 6-7 hours straight, and you won't survive there unless you have that ability. So for this 1 year, I'm going to be using this tactic. It is quite effective for me. If you're a student, I would suggest you do the same, and it would be even better if you have some sort of study with me life thing, because in those 10 minutes you are actually not, you're just listening to the guy speak with you're just listening to the man speak with the live stream. So it's kind of fun watching it, but you get right back into the groove. Just watching it makes it it really does motivate. It motivates you to start over. Okay, but whatever you do, don't overstimulate. Do not stimulate yourself with outside sources during that time. If you have to lock the fucking door, don't let anybody come in. Don't let anybody interrupt. Now, there is one thing that I have to mention. I will mention it at the end. Give me a second to note it down. not get dependent on it. I don't think I need to tell you why, but your ability to focus for a very long time is very important. That is what you always do. Okay. Now, the second last thing that I want to mention is setting the previous day's timetable is a must. Over the course of the past week, every single day, every day that I journal, there was once a. Let me start at the beginning. I started journaling quite a long time. And whenever I journaled, what I would journal about is how the day went and how. That is it. That is all I wrote about. How the day went. Now that I've come into the student mindset a bit, I've realized that's a big fucking waste of time. Then what I moved on to do over the course of the last 3-4 months or so, during the course of this journal's life, which is 3 months, over the course of the past 2 or 3 months, I started doing something called retrospective journaling. At least that's what I call it myself. What I do is I would critique myself on what all shit things I did today. I would not focus on what I did good. I would not focus on that a lot. More so that would occupy maybe 1/3 of my journal. The good things, and then the rest of the things would just occupy me being, very critical about myself. I did that for around 3 weeks maybe before I stopped journaling entirely. It simply is too difficult. It's not just about being difficult, it becomes depressing. There's no point in doing journaling if you're not calming down, if you're not unwinding before the day ends. It really sucked the joy out of my journaling. So what I started doing in this past week was I started setting my timetables. So always, every single day. See, as I said, as I've said in previous videos, I'm not able to set timetables permanently. I'm not even able to set a timetable for 1 week in advance. Can't do that because every single day has a different time. I can't do that. I simply don't have the time for it. Nor do I have the resources for that because the timings of the classes come probably 2-3 days before the class. So I can't do that. So what I do nowadays is the previous night I decide what all I have to do. Not actually what all I have to do. What I do is I always have one set time that I wake up at, which is 5 a.m. And then I go to the bathroom, take a bath, drink coffee, meditate, and get all that stuff done by 5:45. I'm sorry if you're not a Malayali. I don't know what you call Velakathiya in English, just word for you, Malayalam word for you. I get all of this stuff done by around 5:45, 5:50. And let's say I start studying around at 6. Usually I start at sharp 6. I must say it's honestly quite a big waste of time waking up at 5 and then getting to work only at 6. But it makes the day so much better. It feels good. And having a good morning, relaxing morning is actually very beneficial for me. Where am I? Setting the day's timetable on the previous day and trying to execute it as well as you possibly can is probably one of the best hacks that I can give you out of this entire video. This video has dragged on for half an hour now. Now, there's a personal problem that I always have been facing, and that is water. If you're not already noticed, I drink a lot of water, and because of that, I tend to piss a lot as well, as is by nature. What happens is, even in these 15-minute sessions, I drink so much water that I tend to, start feeling the need to piss within 15 minutes, and I am quite distracted in the last 5 to 10 minutes because of this stupid excuse. I feel very distracted with this. So what I started doing is I started using a hack. Now, one of the reasons I always need to drink water was I was always thirsty. I really was thirsty. Despite the fact that I drink multiple jugs worth of water every single day, I am very thirsty at all times. And it is not exactly very surprising. I exercise I exercise consistently. On top of that, I am studying a net of around 12 hours a single day, including my classes, and that's including my tuition classes, and that plus what I study here when I have the time and when I have the capability of doing it. On the capability, when I'm able to do it, I study around 12 hours every single day, and that is very, very tiring. If you don't know, studying is a very demanding thing. Studying and using you don't realize it, but you burn more, your brain burns more energy in a single day than a full body workout, endurance workout would burn. Using your brain is literally the hack to losing weight. And I've been experiencing that. If I don't exercise for a week, I lose more than 1 kilogram of muscle mass. That's how much stress and how much... I think I've mentioned this in one video before this. I am in a very stressful position. So what happens is I use up my body's energy very, very fast. And because of that, I lose... My body runs out of salt and electrolytes. That is the correct term. But my body runs out of electrolytes. So what I do nowadays is, at least for the past, in the last 2-3 days, I've not been able to do it because I've not had stock of a particular item. What I've been doing these past few days, this past week, is I've been squeezing lemon into the water and mixing around 1 spoon of salt and mixing that up and finishing that within 2 sessions or so. So the reason this works brilliantly is because, one, if you don't already know, the thing that you get lime water, it is a basic substance, base. So base substances are things like soap. They have a soapy taste. They feel soapy inside your mouth. If you have had the bad fortune of having soap in your mouth, I'm sorry for you. But usually what happens is it makes the surface and the entirety of your mouth more smooth. The first thing that does is it gets rid of the bad smell inside your mouth, and also the other thing that it does is it keeps your mouth wet. That is what I mean by it being soapy. It gives your entire mouth and your entire the entirety of your lips and your mouth and your tongue. It gives it a very smooth coating, if you want to say that, if you want to call it that. And because of that, you don't feel thirsty. That is a game changer for me, because that means I don't have to drink as much water. Before, I was drinking 1 jug of water in every single session, but now I don't have to do that. I drink half a jug of water every session, or sometimes even lesser than that, and I'm still replenishing my electrolytes, my water, and my salt content. All 3 of those at the same time, and I'm not having to go to piss every 15 minutes or so. And That is what makes me happiest, okay? Ah, water is slowly starting to run out. Now, these are the remarks that I have wanted to make. Now, I have a question. What do you do about an anime addiction? Or more generally, a pleasurable activity that you know you must not do? I've not made any notes for this, but I'm going to give you my honest advice. There's no other way, there's nothing else that you can do but to stop it. Because what else can I say to you? You who are watching this video. The person watching this video might actually be me because nobody else watches these videos right now. It's just me, Vaishnav, and maybe two or three more of my friends. Nobody else watches these videos. But there's no fucking point in watching these videos. Not these videos. Yeah, I don't know how much of a point there is in watching even this video. It's a form of entertainment in the end. Sorry. Watching entertainment does nothing for you. It does not give you any sort of edge in life. It maybe gives you a fleeting topic to talk about with your similarly overstimulated and useless friends. It gives you the opportunity to talk with them, but you know you're ruining them by just speaking to them about this stuff. Because they wouldn't be watching this if they did not feel. It's not that they wouldn't be watching, they wouldn't be so motivated to watch this sort of thing if they did not. If they knew that they would have nobody to talk about it with. And that is what happened to me during 10th standard. I had nobody to talk about anime with. Because Vaishnav was always calling me a fucking Jeffrey every single day that I even watched YouTube. And there was nobody in my friend group who was watching anime at that point in time. Now, out of the three best friends I have, two of them watch anime, and because of that, I've gotten into anime again. I don't blame them though, they discovered it late, I discovered it early, so I got out of it early. Oh. But there really is nothing you can do except stop. I know that the Made in Abyss anime and the Made in Abyss storyline is going to be very interesting. But I also know that there's no point. Why would you focus all of your attention on something that is what this big? The entirety of the laptop, that is what? Not even a foot cube worth of space. Why would I focus my attention on that for 3-4 times a day? What is that? Why would I do that? How can I afford to do that when there are people out there using the time that I dedicate to this stupidity to some other noble endeavor? There are people who pray to God at this time. The amount of time that I spend on these stupid things like anime, YouTube, girls. There are people who spend this time praying to God, improving themselves. What else is this but what you would call devotion? You're spending your time, you're wasting your time dozens of times every single day trying to give your attention to this. Trying to give your attention to this. What else is that but devotion? You know, I don't consider myself right wing, but I used to find the fact that Muslims prayed 5 times a day quite ridiculous back in the day when I did not understand the point of praying at all. I used to find that ridiculous. But once I started getting a vague idea of what my God would look like, I understand why they would need to put so much attention to their God. Because for them, God is something that pushes them in the right direction. Not just for them, but also for everybody who has a decent amount of devotion. God is something that pushes them forward. But what if our God, us overstimulated dumbasses God, was a fucking anime girl? You think that would push us in the right direction? No, it will not. Just praying to God in this time would bring you more satisfaction with your life, more gratitude towards your life. It would, what else would it do? It would give you more, oh my God, it would give you so much accountability. Because for you to have to pray that much, for you to give so much devotion to God, can you imagine how accountable that being, that that would hold on to you, how accountable that would hold you to, how much accountability it would hold you to? It is insane. Why are you devoting your time to something so degenerate when you have so many other things you could do to make yourself gain so many better things later on in life? Why would you do this? Personally, I find it very stupid, but while I was writing the short notes for this, I was thinking, oh, let me read you what I wrote. Preferably the small pleasurable activity, something small. So I got myself into some shit which is relatively small. What I was going to suggest to you was, I would suggest to you, I would have suggested to you to get that thing, that you're addicted to done as soon as possible. Preferably, it's not something bad like smoking weed. You're in India, right? Most likely you're watching. You're a young person watching this. You're probably not addicted to that sort of thing, to weed or drugs. I hope you're not. But even if you are, that is not good advice, is it? To get it over as fast as possible. If you like watching series, there's no point in finishing one series because you always have another series you want to watch. What you should be doing is, give me 1 second. Forgive me, that was my brother. So what was I saying? That was terrible advice. That was what I was saying. It is terrible advice to give to a person who's addicted to something, to tell them to get it over as soon as you possibly can. Just fucking cut it off. You know you're better than this. You know you can do it. There's nothing. There's nothing that is hard about it. You just have to get away from the friends, or get away from the triggers that make you do the habit. That's all you have to do. You're associating that habit with something or some social event, you have to stop going to such social events. If you're associating that with some friends that you just have to stop being friends with them. Or another alternative that you could have is you just make them stop this thing as well. You just make them stop it. In my case, I'm going to stop Joseph and Sai from watching anime again. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to berate them for it. That is what I'm going to do. Because I don't want to stop being friends with them. What else can I do? What I would suggest you to do is I would suggest you to read Atomic Habits. But to be very honest, it's a very, very boring book. I don't like reading self-help books, but I have to force myself to read them. I just finished Crime and Punishment. It was a brilliant read. But now I have to go back to reading self-help books, which I hate them. I honestly do hate them. Because I'm so used to reading writers of such great caliber like Dostoevsky, Murakami, George R. R. Martin, J.R.R. Tolkien, Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Some of you might call me sexist for not mentioning a single female author, but I honestly don't know many good female authors. Forgive me for my ignorance. Stop your bad habits. That's the only thing that you can do. Now, so next, so next segment of this video is going to be about what I will do in the next 1 week. I am not satisfied with what I have done for this past week, but I have seen a lot of improvement, and that is really all that matters. A lot of improvement and a lot of downhill slopes as well, but the amount of stuff that I have gotten out of it is very good. So I will continue this for 1 more week. Something I regret is that the last 2 days have been spent in utter confusion. I've not been focused at all. I regret that very heavily. I'm not going to repeat that again. I'm going to stop watching anime. I don't need it. I don't feel the need to do it anymore. And I'm going to really crank up the habit tracker for this next week. Next video will release on Monday. I assure you, I'm not going to make it late this time like Tuesday. And I'm not going to stop journaling anytime soon. One of the worst things that you can do is you get in the habit of setting the next day's timetable and then you accidentally stop for 1 day. The next day you feel very disoriented. I'm not going to do that again. Yeah, I think that is all that there is to say in this video. I have yet to journal, and I'm going to be staying up till at least 2 o'clock in the morning. It's 10:30 right now. I don't want to do it, but I have to do it. There's no other way. Okay then, after I journal, I will see you very soon. I will see you next week, in fact. And in the middle of this, I'll be coming up with other things that I can do to make my study habits better. I've got a bunch of good ideas on what videos I could make. I will see you next week. Adios.